Hafaday, Tiro Fai Show, good morning and welcome to your house chamber. To all of you in the gallery, the media, all those viewing in the different social media platforms and on cable, welcome to your house chamber. I now call this 11th day, second regular session to order. Let us all please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. I now recognize the clerk to please call the roll.
Representative Vata,
Yeah.
Representative Valdon,
Here.
Representative Fatal,
Present.
Representative Benavente,
Yeah.
Representative Angelo Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Diego Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Joel Komatsu, Representative Vicente Komatsu,
Present.
Representative Castro,
Estiga.
Representative Joseph Flores,
Present.
Representative Marissa Flores,
Present.
Representative Gloria,
Present.
Representative Vogel,
Present.
Representative Omar, Representative Probes,
Present.
Representative Sablan, Representative Nicolas,
Present.
Mr. Speaker,
Present.
Representative Yangtamay,
Ngangiye.
Representative Yumo, Mr. Speaker, 16 members are present and 4 members are absent.
With 16 members present, that constitutes a quorum to move forward. Let the record reflect that Representatives Ralph Yumo, John Paul Sablon, and Vice Speaker Joel Camacho are hereby excused for today's session. And I was just informed that Representative Malcolm Omar is on his way. So we will now proceed. We move down to item number 2, public comments, and the podium is open. Please state your name and the entity you represent. You'll be given 5 minutes. If you have written testimonies and you feel like submitting them for the record, please hand it over to our Sergeant at Arms, Peter Tawai, and we'll submit it to the clerk for public record. The podium is open.
Hafaday, buenos dias. Good morning to all of you. Merry Christmas, by the way, as well. I'm here to make comments on the resolution for a ceasefire for Israel to cease fire on Palestine, Gaza. In 1971, my father came to the CNMI. He was welcomed by locals such as Ben Rai and Jose Tenorio. My father was on a journey. He left his home Palestine to learn more about the world. That was one of his reasons why he left. The other reason was because he was wrongly thrown in jail for 6 months by the Israeli government. They accused him of being a spy for the British. My father was no spy. He was an artist and he painted landscapes. I have only seen my father cry on 2 occasions. One was because he couldn't go to his brother's funeral in Syria. Israeli passport holders are not allowed. And the other is when he spoke about being in an Israeli jail where he was beaten severely while he slept. When he was released, he decided to leave his home, Palestine. He chose the CNMI because here he could use his voice to expose injustices. He could provide news to the local people of Micronesia. Here he was welcomed and not persecuted for being Palestinian. He was proud to be Palestinian, and here he could loudly proclaim it. Could you imagine not being able to proclaim your own identity in your own homeland? We are not here to ask you to support race, religion, terrorism. We are here to ask you to support humanity, to request a ceasefire and end the unnecessary killing and violence against innocent civilians who are mostly women and children. There is no reason why 20,000 plus innocent people have had to die, to be buried under rubble, to be left on the streets to rot, to die in a hospital bombing, to starve, to lack basic needs. Please stop the violence. Request a ceasefire and protect the innocent people of Gaza, Palestine. Thank you all.
Thank you. And ma'am, may you please state your name just for the record?
Oh, my apologies. My name is Suad Castro Yunis.
Thank you. Thank you. The podium is open.
Nestor Mamay, Hafaday. My name is Roberto Santos, and I'm here representing my family, the indigenous people from where I come in the Northern Marianas, and the LGBTQ, a member of the LGBTQ community, chair of Pride Marianas. And I'm here to reiterate my support for this resolution to call for a ceasefire in Gaza and all the other resolutions that we were previously expressing in our movement for solidarity with Palestine, for the immediate restoration of water and power, and for the cease to the delivery of munitions from the U.S. to Israel, fueling this war. I think I trust that we're all familiar with the statistics that are rapidly extending to even more horrific numbers, and that we are all aware that this has been happening for many years before this one. And this is just a capitulation and the worst that has ever been in this region. And I also want to reiterate that this is very much connected to what people across the world are experiencing. Us as indigenous people, us as a nation occupied by the US, by capitalism and by militarism. And this is the reason that or at least this is a reason that we are given that healthcare is not funded, that education is not funded for our people. This militarization and all of the money that the US insists on putting toward genocide and war. And I think it's clear that there is a right thing to do, and I'd like to advocate for the ceasefire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. Podium still open.
Good morning. Buenas. Faisal Sabah Aher. My name is Jihan Yunus, and I come here with the pride of place and as a daughter of the Sidamai to urgently advocate for the passing of a ceasefire resolution. Al Jazeera News have confirmed at least 20,674 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on Gaza since October 7th. 8,200 are children. 7,000 are still under the rubble. This is not only about Palestine. This is about being on the right side of history. So I respectfully urge and ask each of you to stand on the right side of history today and support a ceasefire resolution. This is not a conflict. It's an occupation. This is not a war, it's a genocide. This is not terrorism, it's a right to resist. So I really hope we stand on the right side of history today. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mrs. Eunice. Podium still open.
Morning. My name is Abid Salam Kastru Yunus. I am here as a concerned citizen to fight for the passage of the ceasefire resolution on the agenda. To the authors and those who have signed on already, you have shown true leadership by listening to the voices of the people and fighting for humanity. I urge the rest of the members of this House to be on the right side of history and to stand up against an evil that has killed more than 20,000 civilians, 8,000 of them children. Children with names like Reem, Mahmoud, Tariq, who had dreams, and only a monster can take the dreams of children. Literally creating a hell on earth with no food, water, electricity, starving millions of people. In the spirit of the Marianas, we must stand with the oppressed and fight for freedom against apartheid and stop this ongoing genocide. With this resolution, we will put more pressure on Washington, D.C. to call for a ceasefire and end supplying arms to Israel. Viva Marianas, Viva Palestine.
Thank you, Mr. Yunus. Podium still open.
Honorable members, honorable representatives, good morning. My name is Monica Flores. I am not a constituent. I am not a resident of Saipan. I am a resident of Guam. And there are a few of us who are here today because we felt compelled to come here to speak with all of you and to thank you for the introduction of this resolution of resolution number 23-15. We're here to urge you to pass this resolution and encourage you to strengthen its language. The United States is funding the genocide happening in Israel, and I strongly encourage all of you to include the language that the US stop sending arms and funding to Israel as well. I also am an organizer with Marianas for Palestine. We collaborate with friends who organize here in Saipan, and we organize similar actions in Guam and in Guahan. But we're also here today because our leaders in Guam are failing us. They introduced a very problematic racist resolution, which we successfully campaigned against, and it did not pass. Unfortunately, they continue to stay silent in the face of this genocide and occupation, which only grows worse with each day. And their silence signals complicity. You are all very brave and wise for introducing this resolution. As colonized people of the Marianas, we understand, a long history. We recognize that the root cause of the war in Palestine is one of colonization, racism, and Zionist imperialism that demands power and colonial control over vital natural resources and vulnerable human lives. And we can understand here, living in the Marianas, in Guahan, and throughout the archipelago, what it's like when extractive and violent industries profit from occupying and taking our native lands, oppressing our people. And the ongoing hyper-militarization that's happening in this region has grown out of a similar history of land taking, power grabs, and denial of sovereign indigenous rights. The United Nations Security Council failed to pass a ceasefire resolution, and then the General Assembly, has been struggling with weak language in the ceasefire resolution they just passed. And what you're doing today is you are going out of these colonial frameworks to say that our administering power doesn't have to speak for us. We speak for ourselves as Indigenous Pacific peoples. And this is a very powerful moment. This is a historic moment for the CNMI, something you all should be very proud of. This is a moment, you're among the first territories of the United States to call for a ceasefire. And so with that, we thank you very, very much and humbly and respectfully request that you pass the resolution for demanding for an immediate ceasefire and strengthen its language to also defend the innocent lives being slaughtered in Palestine, to say that also the United States needs to stop funding this genocide. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Flores. The podium is still open for public comments. Seeing that there's nothing further, we'll move down to item number 3, adoption of journals, and we have none. Item number 4 on the agenda, introduction of bills. I recognize Representative Blas Jonathan B.J. Attoff.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Formally introducing House Bill number 23-91 to amend Section 711 of CNMI Public Law 23-09 to allow the Department of Public Lands to utilize $1 million allotted under civil case number 16-0004 to enhance their respective services, introduced by myself and several others. And with no objections and the indulgence of the members, Mr. Speaker, respectfully ask the floor leader if we can place this on calendar for action today.
No objection.
I recognize, and with that, I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this point, I move to suspend Rule 9, Section 8, referral of bills and resolutions, to place House Bill number 2391 to amend Section 711 of CNMI Public Law 23-9 to allow for the Department of Public Lands to utilize $1 million allotted under civil case number 16-0004 to enhance their respective services on today's bill calendar. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader, for that motion. The floor leader has made a motion to place House Bill number 23-91 to suspend the rules to place House Bill 23-91 on calendar for action today, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor for the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. House Bill number 23-91 will be placed on today's bill calendar for action. I now recognize Representative Vincent Audan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So we were talking earlier about placing House Bill number 23-92 to suspend the net energy metering in the CNMI and for other purposes, pre-filed by myself and several others. So we decided that we will put this on. Right, that's what I did. No, because we're gonna.
I'll call for a short recess. We'll rise back to session, and before we went on recess, Representative Vincent Semen Audan had the floor to introduce his House bill, and Representative Audan, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, and my apologies. But yes, we want to introduce to suspend the net metering, energy metering in the CNMI for other purposes.
Thank you, Representative Audan. House Bill 23-92 will be referred to your committee on PUTC. Thank you. I now recognize Representative Julie Ogle.
Thank you, Speaker. I am officially introducing House Bill number 23-93 to amend Title 4, Division 1 by adding a new Chapter 13 and repealing Chapter 5, subsection 1502 under hotel occupancy tax and for other purposes, pre-filed by myself and other reps. I welcome other reps to co-sponsor this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Ogle. House Bill number 23-93 will be referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Thank you. And with nothing further, we move down to item B, House Local Bills, and I recognize Representative Manny Castro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to introduce House Local Bill 23-32 to establish a refund program for the recycling of junk cars, pre-filed by myself and several others.
Thank you, Representative Manny Castro. I now recognize Leader Representative Patrick H. San Nicolas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is to officially introduce House Local Bill number 23-33, is to increase the local license fee for pachinko slot machines and poker machines in the second senatorial district and for other purposes.
Proceed.
Pre-filed by myself, if I may, Mr.
Proceed.
Speaker.
Proceed.
Like to introduce as well also Local Bill number 23-34, which there's a typo error, Mr. Speaker, and I want to let the members know that the Tinian Local Law dash 23 dash 23 dash 3 should be 23 dash 05. So with that, I would like to introduce this one for other purposes. I'm pre-filed by myself.
Proceed. You still have the floor.
Thank you. Officially introducing House Local Bill number 20-35 is to appropriate $208,000 from revenues collected from poker fees in the second senatorial district and for other purposes. Pre-filed by myself, Mr. Speaker, and I yield my time at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Patrick San Nicolas. Again, 23-33, 34, and 35 will be automatically referred to Ways and Means. I now recognize Representative Angelo Camacho.
Privilege, Mr. Speaker, if I don't mind.
Recognize your privilege, Representative San Nicolas.
I believe this House Local Bill 23-34 has been moved to, what's this one, directly to the Tinian delegation. This is the one that was line item vetoed by the governor.
And what local bill was that again, Representative San Nicolas?
House Local Bill number 20-34. This is the line item veto by the governor from the 500,000 from the outsource for license fee from Bridge Investment Group Casino.
I'd like to call for a quick recess. Before we went on recess, Representative Patrick San Nicolas had the floor. Rep Patrick San Nicolas, do you yield?
I yield my time, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you. I now recognize Representative Angelo Camacho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Formally introducing House Local Bill number 23-36 to reappropriate funds under Saipan Local Law 21-13 and for other purposes. Pre-filed by myself and several others, and I welcome other members to co-sponsor as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Representative Angelo Camacho. I would now like to recognize the floor leader for the suspension of rules. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to suspend Rule 8, Section 1 on all appropriation bills, including local appropriation bills, so that they no longer are referred to the House Committee on Ways and Means. So moved.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made by the floor leader to suspend Rule 8, Section 1. It has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor for the motion made by the floor leader, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, colleagues. With nothing further under House Local Bills, we move down to introduction of resolutions, and I'd like to recognize myself, if that's okay. Introducing House Resolution number 23-15 to recognize and call for an immediate de-escalation and ceasefire in Israel and occupied Palestine, pre-filed by myself and several others, and with no objection, I'd like to introduce this as the Committee of the Whole.
No objection.
Thank you, colleagues. And with that, clerk, please make note of that. And House Resolution 23-15 will be placed on today's resolution calendar for action. Also introducing House Resolution number 23-16 to express our sincerest appreciation to Mr. Paul Yin Lien Chen for his efforts in assisting the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands in showing potential developmental opportunities in various fields. Introduced by myself, and again, with no objections, I'd like to introduce this as a Committee of the Whole.
No objection.
Thank you. Clerk, please note that. And House Resolution number 23-16 will be placed on today's resolution calendar for action. And with nothing further under House Resolutions, I move down to item number 6, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 6, messages from the governor, we have just one item, Governor's Communication 23-70.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussion under messages from the governor? Ready? Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to Senate Communications, and I recognize the clerk.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Item 7, Senate Communications. We have several communications from the Senate. Senate Communication 2370 through 2373.
Thank you, clerk. And with that, I'd like to recognize the floor leader for the motion to accept Senate Communications. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move that the House accept Senate Communications 2370 to 2373 so that it becomes the property of the House. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the acceptance of Senate Communications so that they become property of the House, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Thank you, colleagues. All in favor to accept Senate Communications, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Under Senate Communication 23-72 to respectfully request the governor of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands to advocate for the increased security of the tourism industry while promoting economic recovery through the promulgation of the Sinamay EVS TAP and other measures. This Senate Joint Resolution 23-07 will be referred to the Committee on Commerce and Tourism. Thank you, colleagues. With no further discussions, I now move down to item number 8, House Communications, and I recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 8, House Communications, we have House Communications 2382 through 2384.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions under House Communications? Ready? Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 9, Communications from the Judicial Branch. We have none. Item number 10, Communications from Departments and Agencies. We have none. Item number 11, Miscellaneous Communications. We have none. Item number 12, Reports of Standing Committees. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under item 12, Reports of Standing Committees, we have 2 standing committee reports ready for House action. Standing Committee Report 2362 and 2363.
Thank you, Clerk. I now recognize the floor leader for the adoption of standing committee reports. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 23-62, reporting on House Bill number 2323 entitled To Establish a CNMI Drug Overdose Policy, to authorize and mandate first responders to possess opioid overdose reversal medication, to authorize standing orders for opioid overdose reversal medication, to provide limited immunity for dispensing opioid overdose reversal medication, and for other purposes. Your House Committee on Health and Welfare recommends that the House pass the bill in its current form. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of standing committee report number 23-62, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor to adopt standing committee report 23-62, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Standing committee report number 23-62 is hereby adopted. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 2363, reporting on House Bill number 2334 entitled To Establish and Authorize the Use of Legend Drugs and Controlled Substances for Euthanasia by Animal Control Agencies and Humane Societies. Your House Committee on Health and Welfare recommends that the House pass the bill in its current form. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the standing committee report for the adoption of standing committee report number 23-63, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor to adopt standing committee report 23-63, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. And with that, nothing further under standing committee reports. We move down to item number 13, reports of special and conference committees. We have none. Item number 14, unfinished business. We have none. Item number 15, resolution calendar, and I recognize the floor leader for the adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 2315, a House resolution to recognize and call for an immediate de-escalation and ceasefire in Israel and occupied Palestine. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of House Resolution number 23-15, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor to adopt House Resolution number 23-15, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution 23-15 is hereby adopted. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you. Please proceed, floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to adopt House Resolution number 2316, a House resolution to express our sincerest appreciation to Mr. Paul Yin Lien Chen for his efforts in assisting the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands in enjoying potential developmental opportunities in various fields. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the adoption of House Resolution number 23-16, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor to adopt House Resolution 23-16, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you, colleagues. We now move down to item number 16. Excuse me. Yes. Item number 16, bill calendar. I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for passage. Short recess.
The request of the floor leader, short recess. Back to session. Before we went on recess, the floor leader had the floor, so I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before moving for passage on first and final reading, I move to suspend Rule 7, Section 9, Committee Reports and Other Documents, and Rule 9, Section 9 and 10. So moved.
Do I hear a second? Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made by the floor leader to suspend pertinent rules, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor for the motion made by the floor leader, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move to pass House Bill number 2391, a bill for an act to amend Section 711 of CDMI Public Law 239 to allow for the Department of Public Lands to utilize $1 million allotted under civil case number 16-0004 to enhance the respective services. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-91, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Fata?
No.
Representative Aldon? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Good.
Representative Angelo Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
Good.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Manglonia?
Yes.
Representative Ogo?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hungan.
Representative Probes?
Yes.
Representative San Nicolas?
Yes.
Representative Yanktamay? Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 17 members present voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 17 members present voting yes, House Bill number 23-91 hereby passes the House. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for passage House Bill number 2323 from Standing Committee Report number 2362, a bill for an act to establish a CDMI drug overdose policy to authorize and mandate first responders to possess opioid overdose reversal medication, to authorize standing orders for opioid overdose reversal medication, to provide limited immunity for dispensing opioid overdose reversal medication, and for other purposes. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-23, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Fata? Representative Aldon? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Good.
Representative Angelo Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Castro?
Good.
Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Manglonia?
Yes.
Representative Ogo?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hungan.
Representative Probes?
Yes.
Representative San Nicolas?
Yes.
Representative Yanktamay?
Oh,
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 17 members present voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 17 members voting yes, House Bill number 23-23 hereby passes the House. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now move for passage House Bill number 2334, Standing Committee Report number 2363, a bill for an act to establish and authorize the use of legend drugs and controlled substances for euthanasia by animal control agencies and humane societies. So moved.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for the passage of House Bill number 23-34, and it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Vata? Representative Aldon? Representative Fatal?
Yes.
Representative Benavente?
Good.
Representative Angelo Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Diego Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Vicente Camacho?
Yes.
Representative Castro? Representative Joseph Flores?
Yes.
Representative Marissa Flores?
Yes.
Representative Manglonia?
Yes.
Representative Ogo?
Yes.
Representative Omar?
Hungan.
Representative Probes?
Yes.
Representative San Nicolas?
Yes.
Representative Yanktamay?
Oh,
Representative Castro?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, all 17 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. And with 17 members voting in favor, House Bill number 23-34 hereby passes the House. Thank you, colleagues. Nothing further under bill calendar, so we move down to item number 17, miscellaneous business, and the floor is open. Recognize Representative Marissa Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I waited a long time today to have the opportunity to speak. And I think that it's of grave importance that we talk about this. The past couple of days, we've noticed that there were some articles in the newspaper regarding a civil litigation against the Office of the Attorney General and possibly OPA. Now, I need to make it very, very clear that that is problematic, okay? And I'll tell you why. Earlier, and I might go between Chamorro and English at this time, but let me go speak English first. So, in March of 2023, House Bill 2322 was introduced to establish an investigative division of the Office of Attorney General and to codify investigative subpoena power and improve the investigation of cases involving public corruption. There's a section in that bill that talks about investigative subpoena power. The bill allows the Attorney General to act quickly in responding to complaints regarding all criminal matters, but especially those involving misconduct in public office and by public officials. Estigi pago benaklaro. Often natisinya I Senate por lagos estina bill gi komite. Often dan disti pago magogotya disti ki March po magotis tina bill. Okay? Tisinya ay mas tatkilo na opisina ng abogado amumudzi kausa gi public corruption zangin taza zonya subpoena power. Si Rep. Kamotso aga sa pass Public Law 236 ay gobyerno a pass zonya bill zon mami colleague si Vicente Camacho put public corruption Public Law 23-6. Di bumalya no na bill na law sa zangin taza zonya subpoena power mas tatkilo na opisina ng abogado sen matay zonya public law. Tisinya mamumuzi zangin I abogado amamuzi public corruption zangin taza ataradot niya. Tisinya. Za often na I Office of Attorney General po fitma kotta para OP za po fangago dokumento. Estigi na problema ginya magi ni masusesedi ni tipo manai ataradot niya I OAG po fan subpoena dokumento na mamalo. Pues estigi be faise ni publiko. Put favor, organ ni Senate President, organs and mizo senators, zon sangani, lagnus estina bill, zon pega gi floor, zon bota. Zapago peli, 9 senators. I want to see who's going to vote to approve this bill because this bill is crucial to fight corruption. Zangin taza atadadanya, and I'll say it again. Zangin taza atadadanya OAG po fangago po fan gago subpoena. That's so embarrassing. And let me, for the record, it's an elected office. We talk about fighting corruption, but yet we don't want to address the elephant in the room. The AG has no subpoena power. And when we introduced this bill, and it was supported by several of the colleagues here, there was a committee report. We didn't pass this on first and final. The committee report was handed, it was passed. And now it sits there since March. And now we've got all this stuff in the newspaper, all these cases being fought against corruption. Now, let me be clear. It is not our job to determine who's guilty. That is the job of the court. We are all innocent until proven guilty. But without the AG having a subpoena power, unheard of. But we did it. Our job here was to dig and find out what are the systemic problems, and we found one. Our Office of Attorney General, the elected Attorney General, elected by the people, has no subpoena power. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that is a disgrace, and I think that is embarrassing. Because we sit here talking about public corruption and all of this, and yet for the longest time we never knew that the Office of Attorney General never had subpoena power. So now I'm asking the general public to call your senators and demand that they take 2322 out of committee and vote on it on the floor. Because we will see now who is for corruption and who isn't. Whether it dies, that's up to them. But at least the people will know if it's on the floor and it's voted on, a passage means yes. And a non-passage, obviously, will know within the 9. Adi gini. Zata na klaro gi publiko. Sa stigi i gazeta, pura bondan lawsuit. And then the people, mamamay sin, often na tisinya i abogadun Commonwealth tisinya mumuzis ti siya na kausa, stigi ni. Sista ni klaro. That's why. And that's why it's taking long. Sa tata taradod niya, i OAG po fan issue subpoena. Embarrassing. To the general public, I plead with you, support me on this, stand with me on this, call the senators and demand that HB 2322 be removed out of committee, put on the floor for voting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
Thank you, Representative Marissa Flores. The floor is still open under miscellaneous. Recognize Representative Vincent Seminole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So going along with the, somewhat similar with the with Representative Marissa's sentiment. So we in the House, the majority, are technically like 20 out of 20, passed Bill 2359. Until this day, that bill is still sitting in the Senate. Now, that bill is supposed to take care of the whole entire CNMI. And for the Senate President to say that, they want to pass their version of the bill, which is flawed in many ways. Our bill here in the House, 2359, solved it. So why are they sitting on it? When, our colleague from Tinian, they had an issue with their utility bill and they were cut, on the Maramku Center. Now they're having issues with, the CBP. The 2359 will eliminate the government rates. So therefore, by eliminating the government rate, no government agency, be it autonomous or semi-autonomous, can complain that the utility bill is too high. You take that equation out, they cannot complain anymore. So that bill needs to be placed on the floor and passed. Now, that's just what, in order to fix CUC, it's a 40-year issue. It doesn't take 2 years to fix it. It's going to take a couple of more. But there's a procedure to fixing things. Okay, there's a step to fix things and to fix it right. And that's the reason why the Committee of PUTC is working diligently with CUC to try to solve those issues. In the past, there was a lot of legislations that were passed before that interfered with the operation of CUC and charging the cost of service. And that's what we're trying to fix. And we're trying to create a level playing field. And we're trying to get everybody to pay the right amount. But it's hard to do that when you don't follow steps. As somebody that has worked with utilities for half of my life, you cannot go from step one to step three or step four when you're missing the previous step. Something is not going to go right. So we're not willing, and we do not, we're not willing to kick this can down the road. We need to fix it once and for all. I mean, it's Christmas, for Christ's sake. It's a new year, and people are still complaining about, they don't know what LEAC is. They don't know what, all kinds of, fee for this and fee for that. And I'm pretty sure that every single one of us here understands that. And yes, we can fix it, but we need everybody to be on board. So why is the Senate holding up on the bills that is supposed to help everybody? This is not just a third senatorial district benefit. It's the whole entire CNMI, the whole entire municipality. All they got to do is just pass it, send it to the governor, and it becomes the law, and it'll help. And the committee will bring in CUC, and they will explain, and we will come up with solutions. And that's the reason why, as much as I want to, dismantle and try to figure out really what's going on, can't, because, like we all know, there's a process. And if you rush the process, we're going to miss something. And to the public, all I can say is that I'm sorry for not moving fast enough, but we're moving as fast as we can. And there is a process to follow. And I'm pretty sure you do not want us to make a mistake. So it's going to take some time, but we will get there. And this is not just going to benefit Saipan, but it will benefit the whole entire CNMI. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Vincent Aldon. Floor is still open under Miscellaneous. Recognize the floor leader.
I'll make this quick because I know somebody has to go to lunch. Mr. Speaker and colleagues, I just want to thank you all for working together and pushing and passing as a committee of the whole the House Resolution number 2315, the House Resolution to recognize and call for an immediate de-escalation and ceasefire in Israel and occupied Palestine. I am grateful that each and every one of us voted to support this, and we've heard very emotional testimonials today and previously. Although we think that how are we even getting involved? We do know that we have roots and we have family here that is affected directly. We all are affected in one way or another. And I'm very proud of the fact that we as a people champion peace and love. And to say that we are going to push for the de-escalation of and call for a ceasefire is something positive. So yes, we are a small government, but we're people with big hearts, and I think today proves that. I know we'll get criticism no matter what, because then our critics will say, "What do you know about the Middle East? You don't know the history." We do know that we do know the value of life. We do know the value of loss, and I just want to say that I'm very proud of Speaker you and our colleagues, Congressman TJ, who also pushed for this, and the love that you all have in your hearts. It's something that we need to see more of, not just here in the Commonwealth, but throughout the world. So I want to thank you all for that. And on another note, I want to thank you all for passing passing House Bill number 2334. This was a bill to establish and authorize the use of legend drugs and controlled substances for euthanasia by animal control agencies. There have been primitive methods used in putting down these dogs. It needs to end. We need to depend on reliable, up-to-date medication and drugs for euthanizing sick animals that need to be put down, and to put it in safe and good hands. This bill was made possible because of all of your support and passing it. But I also want to thank those who are pushing for it. That's the Saipan Humane Society, led by Lauren Cabrera and her team, and also Booney Babies and Saipan Cares for Animals, and all the other animal advocates out there. I think it's sad when I hear people that just say, "Who cares about dogs? Who cares about cats?" We should care. We should care about our animals. And I want to thank you all for passing that. At this point, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a most prosperous New Year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. I yield.
Thank you, Floor Leader. I'd like to recognize now Representative Yankton.
Thank you, Speaker. I just want to piggyback on his euthanasia thing. We called we need to help the mayor's office because they really need our help with a place for the dogs. Because we called them to come pick up some stray dogs around our houses, but they said they can't because they don't have space. So can we provide a space for them before they? Okay, thank you. I yield. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all.
Thank you, Representative Yanktamai. Floor is still open under miscellaneous. We ready? All right, we move down to item number 18, announcements. Any announcements? Ready? Oh, recognize Representative Marissa Flores.
I just like to say Merry Christmas, Marianas. We're all doing our best here. Forgive me for my passion, but I hope that we can give you, the Senate can go ahead and clear 2322 and give you a wonderful Christmas gift and a very happy New Year so that we can all be peaceful in 2024, and that everybody can have some peace of mind at the beginning of the year. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Marianas.
Thank you, Representative Marissa Flores. Any more under announcements? Ready? All right, I now recognize the floor leader for adjournment.
Subject to the call of the Speaker, I move for adjournment.
Thank you, floor leader. A motion has been made for adjournment. Do I hear a second? And it has been seconded. Any discussions? Ready? All in favor to adjourn, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. Session's adjourned. Thank you, colleagues.